Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video we're going to continue our look at the invasion themed decks, and we're moving on to look at Heavy Duty, which is a white-green deck. I have some fondness for this deck. This is one I had, and yeah, I remember having a lot of fun with it. So let's take a dive into it. So this is the deck list. 28 creatures, so I think we know what the strategy is here. 4 instants, 4 enchantments, and then 24 land, and mana curve off to the side there. So let's start looking at this army of creatures. So, yeah, just white-green creatures. Really nice, solid theme, hard to go wrong with that. So, we have, these are kind of like some basic white creatures. Angel of Mercy, just a 3/3 flyer, comes in, you get 3 life. It's kind of a little expensive what it does, but fine, it's fine. You know, it's fine to have something in the air, it's okay. Benlish Trapper, this is essentially a, not a reprint, it's a functional copy of Master Decoy from Tempest Block. Yeah, it's just really good. 2 mana and pay 1 white and tap it to tap a creature. Really, really good. You know, pay a single mana to lock down a big attacker, to get a blocker out of the way. Yeah, just really good. Benlish Trapper is really, really good. I like it. A single Capuchin Unicorn, 2 mana for a 1/2. 1 cost 1 white, tap it, sacrifice it, and it does disenchant, which, yeah, that's fine. Fine effect to have. And 2 Razorfoot Griffin, just 4 mana for a 2/2 with flying and first strike. Again, like fairly decent thing to have in the air. Will go on to become a absolute staple in every core set for a while. So then we have some white creatures who are a bit more interesting. So Ardent Soldier and Benlish Lancer, I'm just going to talk about them together just because they are white creatures with kicker. So we've talked about kicker before. If you're very new to the game, kicker is an ability that is usually on creatures or spells. Basically, as you play the card, you can pay the kicker cost. If you do, you usually get an extra effect. So, for example, an Ardent Soldier, it's a 1/2 with Vigilance for 2, but if you pay the kick cost of 2, then it comes in with a +1/+1 counter. And that's fine. That's fine. Benlish Lancer, 2 mana, what? 3 mana for a 2/2. I can't speak today. 3 mana for a 2/2. Kicker is 2 colours and 1 white. If you pay the kick cost, comes in with 2 counters and have first strike. So 6 mana for a 4/4 first strike is decent. I think this would have been fine if it had first strike anyway, and the kicker would have just added counters onto it. But yeah, it's fine. Fine as is. And then we have 1 each of Crimson Acolyte and Obsidian Acolyte. They have protection from red and from black respectively, and you pay 1 white to give target creature protection from red or from black until end of turn. Yeah, these are fine. I think red and black are usually the better colors to have protection from because they stop, like damage or kill spells. Yeah, and so just the ability to give that ability to a creature for 1 white mana, I think, is very, very strong. The other little sneaky thing about these is that it doesn't say target creature you control, which is usually on these creatures that give protection. So you can actually use this on opponents' creatures if they have like auras on them, just to make those auras just fall off, which is pretty mean. Or it stops, like pump spells or anything like that. So yeah, really like Crimson and Obsidian Acolyte. And then we have Benlish Emissary, one of them. 3 mana for a 1/4, and it has kicker, 1 color, 1 green. When it ends the battlefield, if you pay the kick cost, destroy a land. I think, so in total 5 mana for a 1/4 that destroys a land as it comes in is pretty okay. I think this, I'm not sure if this one was the best of the Emissary cycle, because the Emissary cycle is like a little weak. I think probably the blue one was the best, I think, just because it had flying, which just makes it better automatically just because it has an evasive ability. But this is okay, because like a 1/4 makes it a pretty good defender after it's come in and blown up a land. And like land destruction actually really good at this time, because if you're playing it's a multicolor set, so people are going to be playing multicolored cards. So mana base is going to kind of be a bit ropey, so blowing up a land and kind of maybe shutting them out of a color is not fun, but it is effective. 2 Rampant Elephant, 4 mana for a 2/2, which is not great stats. And 1 green, type creature blocks it this turn if able. So you kind of do a selective lure ability. That's kind of weak, honestly. Normally this kind of lure effect is like everything has to block it. But yeah, so but at least it's cheap. You can just put a lot of green mana into it. It's fine. 2 Llanowar Cavalry, 3 mana for a 1/4, pay 1 white to give them vigilance to end turn. That's kind of weak. Not much to say about that. It's just pretty bad. And then Tree Folk on the subject, very bad. So Tree Folk Healer, so 5 mana for a 2/3, which is already a horrible deal. And then 2 colors and a white, tap it to prevent 2 damage. That would be the target creature player. Now, like, that's so we've seen like in Urza's block, there was Sanctum Custodian who had that effect for free, and was still like a 2/2 or something, and it was like only 3 mana. That's just a really horrible card in like every way. Like it's really expensive, and its stats don't match up, and its ability is very overcosted for quite a weak effect. So yeah, definitely took out Tree Folk Healer as soon as I could. Then we have some green creatures. Kavu Chameleon. I think this was kind of like one of the stars of the set, really, I remember. So 5 mana for a 4/4, which can't be countered. So pretty good. And then one green becomes the color of your choice until end of turn. And in a set where like color matters, that's pretty big, I think, because this could have stopped like creatures with fear. It could have blocked them. If there's effects that cared about having protection from green or whatever, then he would have been like, oh well, now I'm red or whatever. So yeah, Kavu Chameleon was I think pretty good. So really happy there was 2 of those. Kavu Climber, it's just a 3/3 for 5. When it comes in, draw a card. That's fine. Nothing really wrong with that. That's okay. Llanowar Elite. So this, I was talking about these kind of creatures with kicker costs. So this has trample anyway. It's a 1/1. It's a 1/1 for 1 with trample. But it has trample built in. It's not like it gains trample if you pay the kicker cost. Paying the kicker cost just gives it counters. I'm not saying this is a good card, because it's not, because a 1/1 with it's either a 1/1 with trample for 1, or it's a 6/6 with trample for 9, and those are just 2 not great options. So, but it had trample anyway, and same Benish Lancer could have had first strike off the bat. Anyway, Pincer Spider, 2/3 for 3 with reach, and has kicker, but the kicker is like 3 mana just to get a +1/+1 counter. Like again, I feel like that could have been 2 +1/+1 counters. That would have been fine. But yeah, again, just kind of boring, but serviceable. And then I think this is the rest of the creatures. So Rooting Kavu, this is a bit more interesting. So this is 4 mana for, I think it's a 4/3. I was clever and covered up the power and toughness, but I think it's a 4/3. When it dies, you can exile it. If you do, you shuffle all creature cards from your graveyard into your library. So the fact that it's an option is nice. I think I would have preferred it if you could choose how many creatures you shuffled into your library, rather than like all your creatures from your graveyard into your library. But yeah, I think it's okay, and I think it had sort of decent stats for its time. Charging Troll is a card I'm very nostalgic for, because I really liked Charging Troll. So 4 mana, has vigilance, it's 3/3, and it has it regenerates for a single green mana. Yeah, Charging Troll is great. I really like Charging Troll. I remember that being like the star of the deck whenever I played it, because you stick some buff spells on it, and like it's very difficult to deal with, because having vigilance and regeneration means you can swing with it and it's fine, and if they don't block it or kill it, then it's around to block next turn. It's just really good. 2 Llanowar Knights. So this is kind of like part of there's like this whole cycle of it in this block where, it's 2 mana and it's a 2/2 and it has protection from ability. Yeah, protection from black. Like I said, I think black is one of the better colors to have protection from. So yeah, perfectly fine there. So then the 2 rares of the deck. So Noble Panther, 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 white for a 3/3, and you pay 1 to give it first strike turn. I have no idea why this is rare. It's like, as a rare, it's very boring. I feel like that could have just had first strike built in, but even then, it's like 3 mana for a 3/3 first strike, which is like efficient, I suppose, but like it's pretty boring. Like, as a rare, it's fairly boring. Thicket Elemental is a bit more interesting. So it's 5 mana for a 4/4, kicker 1 colorless, 1 green. When it enters the battlefield, if you kicked it, you reveal cards from the top of your library into a creature card, and if you do, you put it into play, and all the other cards get shuffled back into your library. That's okay. So what, you'd pay 7 mana for a 4/4 and a free creature. So I think that's fine. And then this is the rest of the cards in the deck. It's this is it. So 2 explosive growth. So this is the buff spell of the set. So it gives +2/+2 for a single green mana, and if you kick it for an extra 5, it's instead +5/+5. So like 6 mana for +5/+5 is a lot. It's kind of one of these overcosted kickers. But yeah, it's fine. You can just pay it for 1 green for +2/+2. In the same way you can do with Wax and Wane, which is a split card. So the Wax half gives +2/+2 until end of turn for a single green. Wane is a single white to destroy an enchantment. I think that's probably the perfect split card. Out of the 5 in the set, I think the Wax and Wane is probably the best one, because both those options are always useful. Yeah, it's always nice to have a combat trick, and it's always nice to have an enchantment destruction, just like wait in case you need it. If you're not destroying enchantment, you are going to be using a trick. So yeah, I think Wax and Wane is really good. Shackles is kind of just a bad pacify, honestly. The creature doesn't untap during its controls untap step, so it's a lot of those blue enchantments that kind of lock something down. But you can spend a white to return Shackles to its owner's hand, so you can spend it again. Yeah, it's just a bad pacifism. Like, white has better options than that. And then 2 Armadillo Cloaks. So this is, I'm convinced, like one of the better auras in the game, and it definitely was at the time. This felt really strong. Putting this on the Charging Troll was great. So 1 colors, 1 green, 1 white. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has trample, and I think it's lifelink. I'm not sure if it's been erratard to be lifelink or oracle to be lifelink. I think I'm not sure what it is that stops it being lifelink, but it is basically lifelink. So yeah, this is super strong for like 3 mana. Yeah, it sort of turns anything into a threat. And then 2 Elfhame Palace, which is the set's green-white dual land. So what could have been? I mean, like, overall, I think this deck's like pretty good, honestly. It's already using, I think, the best selection of white and green cards in the set. So what I've got here is just kind of like, I was fine. These aren't in it. But Death or Glory could have been interesting as one of the rares. So it's 5 mana sorcery. You separate all creatures in your graveyard into 2 face-up piles. So one, and then your opponent chooses 1 pile gets exiled, and the other they all go straight back into play. And for a deck that's got a lot of creatures, that could have been quite fun. Horned Cheetah would have just been like another fun multicolored creature to have, just a 2/2 with essentially lifelink. I mean, that's overcosted by today's stands, but like at the time, I would have really liked this. And with Armadillo Cloak on it, you would have got double trigger of it, so it would have been fine for gaining life. Kavu Titan, just another guy with kicker. So it's either a 2/2 for 2 or it's a 5/5 with trample for 5. Yeah, I think that would have been pretty good to have, because there is like sort of there is a small kicker. There's definitely more cards that use kicker in this deck than I feel like in the others that we've looked at so far. And then Sabretooth Nishoba, I don't understand why this really wasn't the rare instead of Noble Panther. I think this is a lot more exciting. Like 6 mana for 5/5 trample, protection from blue and protection from red. Yeah, that would have been a lot more interesting than Noble Panther. As I said, I really don't understand why that was a rare. Like it's not doing anything very flashy, but that was the times. But yeah, so in summary, I mean, I have fondness for this deck because I had it and I used it and I really enjoyed playing with it. I did tweak around with it a little bit, but not much because I was pretty happy with how it came in the box. But did you have the same experience? Did you have this deck and did what changes did you make with it? Did you have fun using it? Stick a comment below. And I'll give it a read. But yeah, I'll be back next time to look at the last Invasion theme deck. But until then, thank you for watching and listening, and have a great day.